And good morning. It is Thursday, October the 27th. This is Common Sense America. I am Eden Hill, and it is a pleasure to be with you here on this beautiful Thursday morning. The temperatures here in Eastern North Carolina are definitely getting cooler. The evenings are more beautiful than ever. And I also just wanted to let you know, for those who are watching on YouTube, LinkedIn, Rumble, Twitter, thank you so much for your support. Thank you to the tribe of women in leadership, and women of faith who have surrounded me in this show. I am grateful for you. To my women's Bible study, who I will be with in just an hour, thank you to you and your amazing support of Common Sense America. God has given me a voice for such a time as this, and I seek to bring truth to you each and every morning here from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Eastern Time weekdays. Common Sense America. I am Eden Hill. And if you hear any planes in the background, if you hear any sounds of airplanes flying over, it is the sounds of freedom. I am grateful to be able to live by Marine Corps Base Camp Lejeune. We are 2 hours from Fort Bragg. We are an hour and a half from Seymour Johnson Air Force Base, and we have Bogue Airfield right in our backyard. We get to see a lot happening in the day in and day out activities of the Marine Corps and their training. So if you continue to hear planes flying over, that is what you are hearing. It is the sounds of freedom. Take it in, drink it in. We are here. God, country, family. We are about serving this nation. My husband and I are here to serve the public. We love this nation. We are one nation under God. We are a family of patriots. We are a family of veterans. We are here to serve the American people. As I sit here this morning, I'm teeing you up for two great interviews that we have. One starting at 9:05, estimated 9:05. My dear friend, Melanie Collette, we're going to be drinking some coffee together. And she has her own radio show and podcast Wednesday nights from 7 to 9 p.m. I want to encourage you to go follow her on Twitter at NJ Diva GOP. She is a powerhouse. And I've also posted that in the comment section of our show this morning. And I want to encourage you to follow her. She's a commentator also for Newsmax. And so if you get Newsmax on your cable network, or if you don't have cable and you watch it on your phone, make sure you tune in on Mondays. She is a phenomenal powerhouse. She's a former educator. She is a money guru. And we're going to be talking Jersey politics, Jersey. We're going to be talking about Zeldin going up against what is happening in New York State, running for the governor's office. We're going to be talking about Fetterman and his health. We're going to be talking about Fetterman and Oz, and what will happen if Fetterman happens to get elected. We need to talk about that, because that could be a reality for the United States Senate, and that's very concerning. So we're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about our kitchen table budget. We, the American people, still need to keep a budget, whether the Congress does. And evidently, they are always running on a deficit. And Melanie is going to talk to us about that. And one of my favorite topics, we're going to be talking about my coffee addiction. Yes, I will be fully admitted to, I do have a coffee addiction, but it's a healthy addiction. It's not like any other addiction. And I broke down some numbers on how much I spend a year. And, for all of those out there who are supporting me, thank you. But if you judge me, well, it is what it is. I'm not spending money on gas going to Starbucks, spending $5 and $6 for pumpkin spice. And I'm not spending $3 or $4 to go to Dunkin' Donuts and spending gas. But I will budget to have my coffee shipped from the great state of New York, from a small business like Zabars, and support our small businesses and have them send it to me, because I can't get up there all the time to get it. So I order big shipments once a month. So we're going to break down the numbers, and Melanie is here with us. And I have to say one thing. Her Twitter account is NJ, that's in New Jersey, GOP Diva. That's New Jersey GOP Diva. Go to Twitter and follow her. Go to Facebook and follow her. Go to LinkedIn and follow her. She has some powerful guests on her show every Wednesday night. You don't want to miss it. So I'm going to bring over my dear friend this morning. Hello.
Aren't you sweet? Thank you for that kind intro. FYI, I'm in the home studio and I did not put Mr. Denny on lockdown, so we may get a Denny visit.
That's fine.
Your audience might enjoy that, and I thought you'd be okay.
I'm totally. I'm totally fine with that. I'm so glad to have you here this Thursday morning. I mentioned earlier, if you hear planes, if you hear that, it is the sounds of freedom. We have Bogue Airfield in our backyard, and our Marine Corps is doing their training on their Harriers. So
Nice.
they are flying over and over and over again. So for all of those out there, I just wanted to let you know it is the sounds of freedom, and I love hearing it. So
Absolutely. I love it. I love it.
well, I want to start off with something that was asked of me yesterday by a mutual contact of ours. And it was asked how we met. And for the life of me, I could not pinpoint an exact time. All I could think about is that you've always been a part of my life. And I really could not pinpoint, and I felt almost as though they didn't believe me. But I was just like, she has always been a part of my life, and I can't figure out when that time started, but she's just always been there.
I think I know, because somebody asked me that the other day. Same question about you, how we met. And I believe this is what happened.
Okay.
In the very beginning of Money Talk with Melanie, I think you were the Politichicks publicist.
Yes, I was.
And I booked the Politichicks on my show. And I think that's how we met. But that was can you believe how many years ago that was?
That was millions of years ago.
Yeah, that was a good while ago.
Oh my gosh. But I just had to laugh because I'm like, oh dear God in heaven, she's always been a part of my life. And I just
feel the same way. But I think that's how we met. And then, we met in person at CPAC a couple times. And it's been just a beautiful relationship ever since. And I just always feel indebted to you for all that you've done for me, for no other reason than you believed in me. And I think we just connect as people. And I just, like I said, whenever it's you didn't ask, it's always a yes.
Oh, well, thank you, Melanie. Thank you. I cried the other day on the show. I don't want to cry now. So I'm like, it's okay to cry every once in a while, but I'm not going to cry.
It happens.
Hey, I have a question for you, Jersey girl. Girl. Okay. So the other day I was ranting to my audience about getting what I'm thinking is Easy Pass invoices from the state of Jersey. Yep. But here's the thing, Melanie, I was just up there in a different car. They have pictures of my old car I haven't had in a year. So what do I do about that?
Because not that I have any experience with this at all, but at the bottom of that form, on the back, there's a place where you can fill in like you have Easy Pass.
Yes.
And you have to take the number off of your Easy Pass and fill that in, and they'll just assign it to your Easy Pass. But you have to do it for each one of those violations.
My gosh.
Not that I've ever had to do that before.
No kidding, huh?
I just know the whole process backwards and forwards because,
Oh my gosh, I got him in the other day and I said, I feel like I'm losing my mind. They have it dated for while I was up there with mom and dad.
Yeah, and I mean, it'll happen like if you're driving another car and you forget to bring your Easy Pass with you, like that has happened to me before. And somewhere on that form, it says something like, if you have Easy Pass, put your number in. And they want that long number that's on top of your Easy Pass. It's got like letters and numbers and stuff. That's what they want.
Well, thank you.
You have to send it in snail mail.
Okay.
Stamp on it.
Okay. All I've got to say is let's just then talk about Jersey politicians and the bureaucracy of Jersey, because is this how bad it's gotten? I mean, really? Is it that? I'll tell you, the last time when I was in upstate going through Jersey to come back down here to North Carolina in August, they charged me the toll and then a $30 fee on top of that. And I said, this is criminal. It was for all the different processing fees. And I said, it's criminal. I could use a lot of other words, but I know I can't on live.
It's a family show.
It's a family show. Okay, so now that we're drinking our coffee and we're high on caffeine, this is Zabar's. And I did a budget after we talked the other day when you were entertaining me as I was driving back home. So I will tell you, I order Zabar's once a month. Okay. It was every 2 weeks, but I got the Keurig. I do the K cups. So I have that, and I drink a lot of coffee. My husband is afraid that,
I do too.
you know, at the end of the day, okay, a year. Okay. You guys ready? I mean, I know my dad.
When you do the numbers, you're like, wait, what?
I know my dad is watching, and I know I'm going to hear about it later because he just made a comment. He loves seeing you on the show. Okay, $1,900 a year
on coffee. See,
on coffee,
and it doesn't seem that bad until you do the math.
Okay, so it's roughly about $160 per month, right? Of getting the K cups in, but I don't go to Starbucks anymore. I don't go to Dunkin' Donuts anymore. So I'm not spending $5 on pumpkin spice, and it's too many calories. Oh my gosh, that wipes out my whole calorie budget. So I'm saving calories. I'm saving money on not spending it at Starbucks or Dunkin', because Dunkin's calories are just as bad.
They are.
And then the gas to get there. So, and we have lower gas than you guys. I know that for sure. So if you actually add that, it probably comes out to double. So it's probably what, 4,000?
So you're saving. I get it.
You like that, right? Thanks, Melanie. Thanks.
Absolutely. It's like when you go to a sale and you buy $300 worth of clothes.
Yeah.
And you saved. You absolutely saved. My ex-husband used to say, okay, so you saved $150. Show me that $150 that you saved. Is that in a bank account? You have that in there?
Oh, I know I'm going to hear about it. If my husband watches this episode later, he's going to be like, what the heck?
If you're getting coffee at McDonald's every day, think about that. That's $2 a day, 30 days a month. That's $60 a month. That's $780 a year. That's cheap coffee.
Yeah.
That's
and that
eco coffee.
Yeah.
And that's only by one large. And I was buying 2 large. After that conversation, I converted back to making my coffee at home. Because I don't want to be a total hypocrite. But yeah, I did the math. $780 a year. And that's if I bought one, and usually I bought 2 because the biggest they have is 16 ounces, and clearly that's not sufficient. What am I going to do with 16 ounces of coffee?
I think we both have coffee issues.
Yeah. Like I can't. 16 ounces is like nothing. So
I blame it on my mother. I blame it on my mother. She's a Jersey girl, and she's had me on coffee since I was in 5th grade. She had no other choice to get me up out of bed to go to school.
Well, I used to drink coffee. I used to work the early morning shift at McDonald's, like down the street from my house. And when I was a teenager, and I used to drink coffee, and my mom told me that it would stop my growth if I kept drinking coffee like that. But clearly she was wrong because I'm 5'2", so I'm sure she was wrong about that.
Oh my gosh. So now that we got coffee out of the way, I've been watching some of your news clips. I was looking at your Twitter account. I want to dig into some of the most recent debates. We got the Lee Zeldin debate in the great state of New York. We got the Fetterwoman, Ed Oz debate. And, the more I was listening to 990 AM and putting a plug in for Chris DeGaulle show like he needs it, but I absolutely adore his show, 990 AM Philadelphia as well. And he's been talking Fetterman nonstop. And my bigger concern is this. If he does get elected to the United States Senate for the state of Pennsylvania, are we looking at an incapacitated senator in the coming years, in the coming months? Because he cannot function and put out a proper sentence.
No, and you know, he can't think very clearly, which is problematic. And more than that, he's a serious radical from a policy perspective, and that is the bigger problem with him. And he is just going to be, you know, a stamp on any policy that the radical left puts in front of him. He will just go ahead and sign off on that. Like, you know, there's not going to be any proper thought going into it, but I'm not even sure that it matters because he's such a radical policy wise. So like, I almost wish we would focus more on his policy than his health condition because I'm not sure it matters. I don't, even if he was healthy. His beliefs and his,
that's a very good point. That's a very good point.
Are what is most concerning. Like, I get it. Like yes, that's a problem, but it's a bigger problem. The policies that he co-signs are the biggest problem, and I think that we should focus on that because that is scarier than the fact that he's like incoherent and can't really think straight.
Right. My dad just texted me. He was like, if he gets elected. And I said, okay, got it, Dad. I mean, my parents are in the great state of Pennsylvania, and being home in Chester County all last week, it is such a beautiful state. The Commonwealth is a stunning state. It is so filled with family, faith, and freedom. There are so many, that state is phenomenal. But when you look at the policies that Wolf has been pushing through and gagging people with the authoritarian mentality. And even when my father and I were headed to Bucks County for the Salem Battleground tour, Dad said something to me. All the years he was in local politics, I said, how did Fetterman become our lieutenant governor? And he said, Eden, he just kind of slid in there. He just kind of showed up. I said, how does that happen? Do you have any thoughts on that, being, you know, neighboring in the great state of the Garden State?
Well, yeah, I don't know much about his particulars, but I could absolutely see how it could happen being in politics. And I know you being in politics as long as you probably have some ideas.
Yes.
Yes. How that happened, you know, quite as it's kept or not so much. A lot of horse trading goes on in politics. A lot of we'll move this person here if you move that person there. And I suspect that someone as incompetent as he is probably got a political favor, and that's how he got there. Like he, you know, and that's the dirty side of politics. But many times, particularly at the higher levels, this is how these things are done.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about Jersey then. You being very heavily involved in the great state of New Jersey, the Garden State, with Republican groups in South Jersey. You are a leading woman in that area.
Baby, Cape May County.
Well, what are you finding? What are the voices of the people saying as you guys, I see you on the weekends canvassing, you're going out, getting out the vote. Is that your dog? I knew it.
He just came up to me. He's like, say hi to the Common Sense audience.
Look it. Oh, sweet baby. I love it.
Yeah, it's lap time. He's like, where you been? What are you doing? Yeah. But yeah, so Cape May County is super red. As a matter of fact, my Congressman Van Drew, if people recall, he is the congressman during the Trump impeachment, the second one, I believe it was, who switched to Republican. And so now he's my congressman. Well, he's always been my congressman, but now he's a Republican. And after that happened, President Trump came to Wildwood, New Jersey, which is in the peninsula of New Jersey. Like, I'm as far south as you can go. We have something called Exit Zero on the Parkway. Like, literally, that's where I live. So yes, but the county is very red where I
Mhm.
live. Like we
Mhm.
either have in elected officials, we have like maybe one Democrat mayor, like one random
Mhm.
Democrat mayor. We have some municipalities that are nonpartisan,
Mhm.
nonpartisan.
Yeah.
Um, but then the rest of the elected officials everywhere are red,
Yeah.
and we are trying to maintain that. We work hard, very hard to maintain that, and really make South Jersey a barrier
Mhm.
to the rest of New Jersey woke land, which is
Mhm.
which is which is blue. People are like, oh, they're so liberal in New Jersey, which they are, but not
Yeah.
where I live, not in
Yeah.
my county.
Yeah.
We're gun-toting, Bible clinging, freedom-loving
Americans.
people.
Yeah.
That's right, America.
Deplorables? Are we are deplorables?
We
As what?
are. We're quite horrible here in Cape May County.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I saw the other day on Twitter, Hillary is wanting to stir pots as normal. I tell you what, this sounds
We're
really
tired.
crass.
We're tired already.
I can She
Like,
just looks awful. And do people really still listen to her?
apparently, I mean, doesn't she have grandkids that she could be hanging out
Yeah.
with? Like, what
Yeah.
are we doing?
Yeah. I mean, what do you think the rumors are? Do you think the rumors are legit? She is going to run and it will be
Oh,
Trump and
sorry.
Clinton again?
I don't think so. Hey, I don't think so. I don't think so.
You don't
I
think so?
hope not.
I
I
hear
hope
those
not.
rumors. I hear the rumors.
That it's gonna be Hill Dog and Trump again.
That's what I keep hearing.
Well, he's gonna. Well, listen, I. Uh, it's
Deja vu.
it's not good to have dead air, right? But I'm thinking, so it's gonna be another presidential election, and
Mhm.
a choice between a poo sandwich and a poo sandwich with cheese. Like, is this what we're doing again? Did we learn nothing? We
Yeah,
learned
that's the
nothing.
thing. I
This is
clearly
what
we
we
have.
got. Like, this is our bench.
Yeah.
This is like, that's the D's bench. This is the R's bench. Not that I don't like adore everything that President Trump did for us.
Right.
The Supreme Court alone, and all the judicial appointments
Mhm.
was worth it, in my
Mhm.
opinion.
Mhm.
And for us to just get a taste of what it would be like with
Mhm.
a truly fiscally conservative president who doesn't
Mhm.
owe anybody anything,
Right, right.
truly see what that's like.
Yeah.
Because quite frankly, a lot of the reasons that things don't get done is because
Mhm.
on people's political way to the top, they had to make some deals. They
Yeah.
had to, they had to do some horse trading, like I
Right.
said.
Yeah.
And, stuff ends up not getting done because when policies come through and laws get made, people cash in their chips.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. That's exactly it.
I hate to tell people that, but
It's true.
it's
It's
just a
very
fact.
true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yesterday, I had on Sarasota County board member Bridget Ziegler, and talking about talking about 2024, knowing that November 9th, day after election, it's going to be 2024 conversations until that actual election day. You and I both know it. I mean,
Well, listen, those of us who stay in the election cycle and do something in any capacity on, working on elections, which I do.
yeah.
I'm the vice chair of my county organization.
Mhm.
I run the
Yeah.
call center. I do like a bunch of stuff during campaign season. I'm a political consultant on the side. So, it's a very, very busy season, but we know, like, it's never not for people like myself. It's never not campaign season.
It's always campaign season.
Right,
It's always.
right. So, like you said, November 9th, it'll be campaign season just for a
Yes.
new set of candidates. It's
Yes. Yes, most
it's
definitely.
always campaign season.
Yeah. So, all right, let's talk about kitchen table budgets now. What other budget tips do you have for the great American people as we watch our president who is having health issues? And I'm not, again, I've heard other commentators say we're really not sure who the president is. I'm not going to beat a dead horse, but we really don't know. We really don't. Or we do, but we don't want to admit it. Or, I don't want to take away from the respect of the office, but in many senses, what is sitting there has downgraded the respect of the office. And yeah.
No, and I'm just thinking, like, And if we get Kamala, whatever her name is today,
I'm not going to say what my husband calls her. Go ahead.
It's a family show.
It's a family joke.
But I mean, even if we got her, like, we're in a terrible situation. We're in a terrible situation from an economic standpoint for a number of reasons, not just because the policies that are put in place by this administration are highly inflationary. Like, our lack of energy independence is driving inflation. And on top of that, them infusing the economy with all this cash, with the student loan forgiveness, and all and what is really another iteration of the Green New Deal, which was supposed to be to address inflation. I forget what they were calling it, but it was a BS title that didn't really describe the bill at all. As a matter of fact, I heard somebody say that there's a famous quote, I forget who said it, but that whatever the name of a bill is, it usually does the opposite.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Most definitely. Most definitely.
Yeah. So, with all of those things in mind, it's really tough out here to decide where to put your money. I'm a middle-aged woman, and if, having a chunk of money, I wouldn't even advise young people being aggressive. I would sit a chunk of money in like a money market or somewhere and just chill until we straighten this mess out. It doesn't look like, I hate to be so pessimistic, but it doesn't look to me like it's going to get better when you look at the policy perspectives, when you look at our nation's security. Like, when we look at the fact that we have a million gotaways at the border, and we have no idea who they are. The ones that we've caught 100 people on the terror watch list. We have China and North Korea and Russia running absolutely wild. So all of those security risks, and let's not even mention the ones that we have no idea about that the government is keeping from us.
Right. Exactly.
Any bad thing that happens will negatively affect our economy and negatively affect everyone. And we already technically in a recession. People don't want to talk about that, but from an economic textbook definition, two cycles of negative growth, 2 quarters of negative growth, we're already in a recession. Big companies are already making job cuts. Now, unemployment is low, but part of the unemployment calculations are the labor participation rate. How many people are actually looking for jobs and participating in the market?
We'll talk about the big companies. I had a friend of mine, she's a military spouse, virtual executive assistant who I know you know. She mentioned to me the other day in a private conversation, obviously I can say this part, why are the big companies starting to do layoffs? And we were talking through that. Can you talk more to that? Because you see small town America still hiring all around us, I saw it in Jersey, I saw it in Pennsylvania, I see it down here, but then you see big companies laying off. So what's going on right here?
In my opinion, it's because the big companies pay these financial people, their CFOs, their consultants, lots of money to see the writing on the wall. And most bigger companies are very forward looking. So they're always trying to protect their investors and their stakeholders. So they have to plan ahead for what they see as their economic forecast. And in my opinion, they see that the forecast is bleak for the foreseeable future. We have 2 more years of the Biden administration. And in my opinion, they're battening down the hatches.
So we're going to see that. But then what about small town America still hiring? You look around at the Lowe's, you see, Jersey Mike's, just to name a few, they're hiring. So is that going to start to happen too?
I think it will once it starts to affect us on the consumer end. Like, once the demand goes down, like right now, because we're in this post-COVID era, we're still consuming as a group of consumers. We're still consuming. We're going out. And I would argue that, we're probably consuming more post-COVID because we're like, life is much shorter than we thought.
Yes.
you know? And
Yes,
so
it
we're going
is.
to just be out here living our best lives thanks to COVID. So I think that even culturally, our attitudes towards spending money is different. I think that we have a much more YOLO attitude, you only live once, than a saving, investing kind of attitude. I think that the bleak outlook with crime and the lack of security and the lack of our government taking care of our money, I think
Right.
is causing people to just be like, bleep it.
Yes. Yes.
with their
Yes.
money. And I think the attitude is that they're saving less and
Yes.
we're spending more. So as long as we're spending more, small businesses will need workers. Small
Yes.
businesses will still produce,
Mhm.
but eventually it's going to catch up with them. But small businesses don't have that aptitude. They don't have stakeholders that they have
Mhm.
to
Mhm.
be beholden to, that are
Right.
saying, what's up with our dividends, what's up with our payback, you know what I mean? So it's a different kind of environment for small businesses. A lot of small businesses are living hand to mouth, maybe only 6 months ahead on their how long they could maintain their business
Mhm.
without making any money. We saw that during COVID with the thousands of businesses that shut down.
Right.
So, small businesses are busy trying to get their footing, trying to get reestablished where they were. But I'll tell you, my concern is nation security. We remember what happened during the tragedies of September 11th and
Yes.
how that affected our economy. And you
Yes.
just can't tell me that we have no reason to be anxious with 100 people on a terror watch list getting through our
Yes.
border, with
Yes.
1 million gotaways, and we have no idea who they are, with China having a bigger military than we do, with North Korea testing at will. You can't tell me that something terrible is not going to happen.
Right.
You can't. It just makes no sense.
I feel like we are sitting ducks, and I have these moments. Last week, I felt it. I was enjoying beautiful Chester County, enjoying being with family, enjoying what was going on, but there was an underlining gut feeling that something was about to happen. And I have a dear friend in Florida. She's in the great state of Florida, Freedom, Florida, America's governor. And she called me about 2 weeks ago and she said, I have this gut feeling something is about to happen. Now, she's a military spouse. Military spouses are trained. They may not get all the information, but they are trained. They know, they see, they say something, they are trained. And from my perspective, I just, in being around all these military installations here in the great state of North Carolina, I see more activity. My husband's like, yeah, they are training. That's normal. I said, okay. Is it though? I just have this gut feeling, and I'm not trying to scare people. I'm not trying to, be doom and gloom or conspiracy theorists. My reality is, God is in control. But at the end of the day, when you look around and you see what's happening, if you take your head out of the sand or get off your, desk chair and go for a walk, you see actually what is going on and around you. And there's just this look on people's faces, this fear, this anxiety that people cannot shake, whether they are Christians or not. People are struggling. They're struggling because they are wondering about, are they going to have a job next year? Are they going to be laid off? Is the stock market going to crash? What does January look like? All of these, there's this constant fear and this constant panic. And we are sitting ducks. I mean, Daily Signal put out last week, America, you need to be ready. China is looking at Taiwan. And if it hadn't been for Putin doing what he did, it probably would have happened by now. And, so I mean, the list
And
goes on.
not to mention that they're over there very casually talking about nukes. Like
Casually.
very casually talking about these pointed, targeted nukes or whatever they call them. And
Mhm.
I'm like, that's not okay. Like that's not
Mhm.
okay. We are not feared anymore.
No,
And
we're
for
not.
all the liberals that think it sucks that the United States is feared, I'm like, how do you think we maintain our freedom? It's a dirty business. What do you think? And if
Mhm.
we didn't do what we do, and if we weren't feared, we'd be speaking German right now.
Yes, we would.
Be speaking Chinese by now.
Yes.
If we were not feared. We can't maintain what we have if we were not feared. Yes. I was telling somebody last night, I said, do you know that in China, Apple can't even put a Bible app on their phone? You can't be in possession of a Bible. I have a friend of mine who works for an international company, and she said it's very difficult to work with people in China, especially during COVID, because many of them don't have internet access. No. And that is their government.
Yes.
And that is the government that wants to take over the world. That is the government who just had their predecessor escorted out of a meeting.
Yes.
And I don't mean to be doom and gloom either, but people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
I told you I was in China, didn't I? Did I tell you I was a short-term mission? Yeah.
He has made himself a certified dictator, and people are just like, ah.
Yes. No, I mean, I tell you, the things that we did with our Bibles, I mean, we were lucky we did not get locked up. My mentor, Ducky, and I know she watches every once in a while, she said, Eden, get your stuff together. Make sure you know all these people before you get over there because something's going to happen. And sure enough, something happened. Those people are insane.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And then there's so much propaganda out. If you look on social media, there's tons of propaganda talking about how awesome China is and how the United States sucks. And it's like,
and who's putting that out? Hillary, Biden, Obama, Michelle?
Right.
Really?
I suspect the Chinese government because there's people. I was on, I think one of those like kind of obscure social media sites, Cura, and somebody was talking about China, and there was like Americans on there talking about how clean it is and there's no crime and blah blah blah. And I'm like, yeah, you also can't have a Bible. And they regulate who can have internet access and who can't. I find that to be a little bit of a problem.
Yeah. Yeah. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Yeah, exactly. I am going to be teeing up for our next segment. I have Miss Melissa Ortiz coming over. Do you know Melissa?
I don't.
Well, I'll tell you what. She is a senior advisor at Able Americans, and she was a Trump appointee like myself.
Nice.
And she is talking about National Disability Employment Awareness Month, which is right now. Excellent. And you know why I'm so excited about talking about that? Because you know how much I love our veterans and those who have invisible wounds.
Yes.
Tend to fall through the cracks. So we're going to be hitting that hard in the final moments of the show. But as I end this segment with you, and I don't want to say goodbye. I just want you to stay on for the rest of the show. We can just drink coffee. I'll
be watching when I get to my office in like 5 minutes.
Oh, I love it. Thank you. Thank you so much for all your support.
I'm going to pop online as soon as I get to my office.
Well, let me also say this. Next Friday, we're going to be decorating my Christmas tree, and that's going to be a big part of the show. You have no idea how many people tuned in watching my Mamma Mia cook in the kitchen.
Nice.
She is a sensation overnight, YouTube sensation. And then she said to me the next day, so how many people watched last night? I'm like, oh my gosh, it has gone to your head.
Now she's going to have an entourage. You're going to have to call her people. Sorry about Benny. He's very excited about your Christmas tree show next week.
No, but you know what? It's just really neat to see. So many people have been commenting. We love seeing you do this. We love seeing you do that. And you know what? So we're going to be doing. I know it's a little early for Christmas, but I'm 365 Christmas baby. So we're going to be.
Never too early for Christmas, though.
No, all the trees here in the Hill household go up November 1st, actually October 31st.
I love it.
So on that note, Melanie, Money Talk with Melanie, educator, community leader, host of Money Talk with Melanie radio show. Follow her at NJGOP Diva. I keep switching it. I'm dyslexic in case you didn't know that. I am dyslexic.
That's okay.
And you know what? Every Wednesday night from 7 to 9 p.m., I love your show. And if people want to put some cents back in their pockets, they need to watch your show.
I just found out I'm number 1 in my time slot in my market, by the way.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll send you some Zabar's coffee and we'll celebrate.
Yeah, very exciting. We were in a sponsor meeting, and my boss just like casually mentioned it. And I was like, no wonder you've been being so nice to me. I didn't know that.
Oh, congratulations. I'm so
Pretty cool,
happy
right?
for you. I'm proud of you, girl.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, it's not a huge market, but number one is number one. I'll take it.
Hey, 98.7 the coast, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
South Jersey. I love my Jersey girls.
Thank you, Eden.
Thank you. Thanks for being a part of my tribe. I'm grateful for you.
Indeed.
All right. I'll see you soon. Bye.
See ya.
And for all of those who are tuning in, this is Common Sense America. I am Eden Hill. As you can tell, Melanie, Collette, and I have a blast together. We have been dear friends, and she finally pinpointed to me how we met, because we have been friends for so long. I am grateful for her dollars and her cents and what she brings to the table for Money Talk with Melanie. Make sure you follow her on Twitter. If you're on any social, follow her on Twitter and Facebook. She's just phenomenal when it comes to budgeting and your family budget. And also, I am excited to transition into our next guest. We have had an amazing Thursday thus far. It is Thursday, October the 27th. We just have less than a couple weeks until midterm elections, but something that is very near and dear to my heart is those who are the able. I want to call able Americans, as Melissa Ortiz, senior advisor, is going to be explaining with us this morning. And also, it is October, which is National Disability Employment Awareness Month. So we're going to be talking about that. And Melissa, how are you, my friend? It's so nice to see you.
Great. How are you?
Good. You look wonderful.
Thank
and it's
you.
so fun to finally meet you.
It is fun. I can't believe we were orbiting in the same circles and just never met.
I know. Well, first and foremost, I have a lot of different things queued up, but I would love for you to share with my audience. We are all about God, family, and country. And you know a little bit about my background with my family, with my husband being a veteran, our family being military service. And I'm not going to apologize, but if you do hear planes hovering over, it is the sounds of freedom. We have Marine Corps base right by us, and they're doing their Harrier practice and training over by us. So if you hear that, that is what's in the air right now.
I love the sound of freedom.
Oh, isn't it the best? It is the best ever.
It is the best.
And but I would love for people to share with you your story, your personal story, and your journey, and how you've got to this point.
Well, I'll share the faith part first.
Yes, please.
My parents came to faith in Christ in the early 1970s, actually 1970. I was 4 years old, and I noticed a change in our house. All of a sudden, the yelling stopped. The arguing stopped. There was peace. And so I began to listen. I was a very observant 4-year-old, and some would say I was rather precocious. And so I began to just listen to what my parents were saying to each other, what they were talking about with their friends. And one night, partially in a stall tactic to not go to bed, and then in an honest desire to know, I said, "Mom, how do you get God in your heart?"
Oh, I love it.
And that was the only way I knew to express it. And she said, "Well, you just ask." And so I remember very clearly, my bedroom walls were yellow. My headboard was spring green wrought iron. And I rolled over in my bed and I held onto the headboard and I said, "God, if you're there, I want you to come into my heart." And it was that simple. Now that was 52 years ago. So I am 56 and I have grown in the understanding of what that meant. And I have never doubted for one moment that God had a plan for me, or that God was present, that my faith is in my salvation through the shed blood of Christ alone. There is nothing I can do to earn it. There's nothing I can do to lose it. It is, once I have taken hold of that, it is mine. And so, and that kind of brings us fast forward. I went through elementary school, started first grade in a wheelchair, which my diagnosis at the time was cerebral palsy. And I went through all the things that people say to you. And when you grow up in church, they say things like, "Well, if you had enough faith, God would heal you." And I finally came to the realization that God had healed my heart. that I wasn't angry or bitter about being in a wheelchair.
Mhm.
So I would say that to people, and they didn't quite know what to do with that. They would that was a little more than they were ready to handle.
Sure.
So, but I let people pray for me and pray over me because I felt like that it was more about them wanting to do something kind for me than it really was about my being instantaneously healed.
Yeah.
So fast forward through high school, college,
Sure.
lots of broken relationships, crazy career path. I taught school. I worked on campaigns. I worked at a hotel during the off season and answered phones. I grew up in Nashville, and so I've seen everything in the music industry, and I do mean everything.
I bet you have.
And up close and personal.
Yeah.
Not many people can say that one of the original founders of Petra was their youth counselor.
Mm.
But and Petra's old school Christian
Yes,
rock
they
from
are.
the
Yes,
80s.
I remember.
And
Yes, I remember.
then and then not everybody can say that Barbara Mandrell sat in front of them at church every Sunday.
Right, right.
So it's like this weird dichotomy of things.
Yes.
And so, and my mother was also both an opera singer and a church musician. And I was diagnosed on January 6th, the day that all hell was breaking loose at the Capitol. I was getting news from my doctor that I had breast cancer.
Oh my goodness.
And so I went from being worried about my friends that I knew that were on the Hill to not
Yes.
quite knowing what the plan was. And
Yes.
I had to laugh because my doctor said to me, he said, I kind of feel sorry for the cancer because I don't think it knows who it's tangling with.
Oh, I like your doctor already.
Yeah, he was great. And he made sure, that was my OBGYN, he made sure that I got the doctors that he would have sent his own wife to.
Right.
And he arranged those things. And I was never without a path for a moment. And the doctor looked at me and she said, what scares you the most about all this? I said, well, I'm usually the ringmaster. I'm the one pulling together the resources. I'm the one saying, okay, you go stand over there and wait for that. You go stand over there and wait for that. I'm the logistics girl. I mean, I'm what we would know as a communicator, but also in the political world, I'm an advanced girl.
Yes. Oh, I know what that is. Yes, I do.
And it is tough work.
Yes,
but
is.
I love it. And
yes.
I love the look. I love seeing the look of satisfaction on the principal's face when they walk in, whether it's a male or a female candidate or office holder.
Or whether it's the president of the United States.
Exactly.
Yes.
Or the vice president, whoever it is.
Yes.
And so she said, well, it's time for you to meet. And she said the nurse's name that I'm going to keep private. And they brought me this big book that had all the resources I was going to need for the next 18 months of my life. And I got through, I mean, there were some really scary moments. I almost died in July of 21. But clearly God had other plans. I'm still here. And so I say all that to say this. The one time that I've had a real crisis of faith, it's not the only time, but this is the most major thing.
Sure.
I have a dear friend named Paul Teller, and everybody that's in the conservative movement knows Paul, and he's my brother from another mother. And he sent me this email back in June, and he said, hey, I was with a guy named David Ridenauer from National Center for Public Policy Research, and I want you to meet with him. So he never vague, but I've learned from 12 years of friendship that if Paul asks me to go take a meeting, I go take it.
Of course.
And so I didn't know what this was about, but the night before the meeting, so we get the meeting set up and it's in late July. And the night before the meeting, I was having a real crisis of faith, and I pitched an old-fashioned Southern Belle fit before the God of the universe. And I was all but laying on my face, kicking and screaming. And I was like, look, I don't know what you intend me to do with all these communication skills and all these organizational skills and all this policy knowledge. I've tried all the things I thought you wanted me to do, and nothing is coming together.
Yeah.
Could you please tell me what to do?
Yeah.
And my precious husband just sat there and held my hand as I wrenched it out in prayer. And all of a sudden I got this image of God as a human father carrying me surfboard style under his arm out.
Oh, I love it.
You have kids, or, I don't know if you have kids. Never talked about that. Okay. So all of my friends that have kids say that you haven't lived until you've carried one of them out under your arm from an event, kicking and screaming and
I
pitching
have
fit.
godkids. I have godkids.
Okay, so I have god
yeah.
kids too. So
Yes,
I don't
yes,
have
and-
any children of my
yes.
own. I have a dog. So
yeah.
and
No. I get what
so
you're saying though. That's something very powerful. Yes.
yep. And so the next day was this meeting with David. And what I thought was going to be a 45-minute courtesy lunch turned into a multi-hour strategy session.
I love it.
And everything that I had put out before the Lord the night before as a fleece as to which direction I was to take was answered in that meeting. And fast forward to August 12th, and September 12th, we kind of spent the month of August figuring out what it was going to look like and going and taking meetings together to see how we work together and that sort of thing. And on September 12th, we officially brought me on board at National Center, and then a week later officially launched Able Americans.
I love it.
And it is especially crucial right now because through the pandemic,
yes.
we have lost children without any intellectual or developmental or physical disabilities lost everything. I mean, not everything, but at least 2 years of learning.
Sure.
Children with disabilities lost everything.
Yeah.
I mean, because they depend on their IEPs, their individual education plans, to have their physical therapy at school, to have their occupational therapy, to learn how to live independently, to learn skills of daily living. And that was just gone. And so David really has a passion for this because he saw what his own children who are on the autism spectrum went through. And I have a passion for it because I was in high school before I understood that not everybody had the support system that I had. Not everybody had a parent standing over them. I decided when I was in first grade, I was going to sit on my behind and eat bonbons for the rest of my life, that life was just too hard. And oh, dear God, I was dramatic. And my mother did a very smart thing. She locked me in my room that next day. 6 years old, she locks me in my room. She went and got my schoolwork, and she brought literally bread and water and my schoolwork and said, here, do it. And got bathroom breaks. But that was it. Guess who was at the front door ready to go 30 minutes before time to leave the next morning? It was not, she is not a foolish woman when it came to raising me and doing it right. And I would put her up against any parent with a child with a disability any day. And she enabled me to have the skills to go get a job. Now, that leads me into the next thing. Just because I had the soft skills and the education to get a job didn't mean I could find a job. 75% of adults with disabilities are living on entitlements because they cannot find a job, because we can't seem to get it through employers' heads that a reasonable accommodation can be as cheap as $500. And sometimes you can even get that donated.
Right.
And what's even bigger is that the kids that are coming out of college today, and not even the kids, the wounded warriors who are coming back and going to college, are coming out of school with everything they need to function in the workplace. So we have to stop this, because it's something like $703 billion a year that we are spending on things like this that could be going toward paying down our national debt. And yep, it is.
I have
$703.68 billion yearly. And at least 75% of those people could go to work with some sort of support. And with the pandemic, employers saw that people could work from home to be even more productive than they were at the office. When I was at HHS, one of the guys that I worked with, I said, why don't you come by and see me? I'm the new commissioner, and I'm trying to meet everybody in the office, but I haven't been able to find you. And he said, that's because I work from home. I said, oh. I said, is it hard for you to get here? And he said, it is. And he said, I'm a high functioning quad. And so he said, I just get up in the morning and throw on a t-shirt and shorts and work. And the hour and a half to get him ready, and then the hour and a half commute, that's 6 hours out of his day. And it's exhausting. You know, from having a husband who's a wounded warrior, it is exhausting. And even now, coming out of the breast cancer battle, I'm not back at work at the office 5 days a week. I'm working in the office Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and then I'm working from home Tuesday and Thursday. And and then fitting in things in between the working. In fact, this morning I am sitting, we are first time homeowners, and I'm sitting in our new building. We're doing the walkthrough as soon as I'm done with this interview.
Oh,
And then we sign our papers tomorrow, and we become, because of the gracious provision of our God through my
yes,
mother and father-in-law,
yes.
they left enough money in their estate that we're going to be able to pay cash.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. We are so excited,
What
and
a blessing.
it's a huge blessing. And I would say this to people with disabilities: never give up,
Yep.
never give in. There will be somebody that will recognize what you bring to the table.
Yes.
I was very fortunate in that with President Trump, I had a president who recognized what I brought to the table.
Yes.
And I had a vice president in Mike Pence who recognized what I brought to the table.
Yes.
And he was so dear when I was at the height of my breast cancer battle. And I'd lost all my hair. I looked like I needed to be painted yellow, and I would make a perfect minion. And not everybody, and I'm glad that you kind of think that's funny, because not everybody thinks that's funny. I'm like, but I was bald, and all we had to do was paint me yellow, and I could have walked around like the penguin that I am and been the perfect minion. Nobody really thought that was funny. I think it's funny because I have a strange sense of humor.
It is
And Mike Pence wrote me the most precious note, because I went to his grand opening of Advancing American Freedom with no hair. And in front of all my colleagues that I hadn't seen in months, or former colleagues, in front of people, I did it. No hair, no makeup, literally no hair, and no eyelashes, no eyebrows. And he wrote me a note, and he said, the fact that you would do that. And he said it was very obvious to everybody there how very sick you were, in spite of your intentional energy. Yeah. And those are the people that you don't forget, because they stood in the trench with you in those hard moments. Yes. So I've just been rambling on and not allowed you to ask very many questions.
No, I am.
And we're running out of time.
We had a great pre-interview yesterday, and I am grateful to my audience who support amazing Americans like you. We are all about God, family, and country here. And
that's what I'm about.
At Common Sense America. And Melissa, I want to have you back as Able Americans continues to grow, to see what you guys are bringing to the table. I'm all about supporting those with disabilities, especially our veterans, and those who are transitioning and who may be wounded warriors, may be visible and may be invisible. So many, and we need to tap into that. We need to make sure that they are lifted up. And I want to.
They have a lot to offer.
They do. They do. They're amazing. They're amazing, patriotic Americans. But on that note, Melissa Ortiz, Senior Advisor, Able Americans, a former Trump appointee with myself. Yes, exactly. And for all of those who are tuning in, it is October 27th, just a couple days left until November, and my Christmas trees go up, Melissa, November 1. And we're going to be doing a segment on decorating Christmas trees, a little bit lighter, just because we need something like that, right? Excellent. But October is National Disability Employment Awareness Month. Yes. And I have been showing the different numbers that you've been citing during the interview. And so we will get this out all over. It's live streaming right now, and we will share this with the masses. And I do want to get you back so we can talk more in depth about what some of the programs look like, and just the facilitation between those with disabilities and getting them employment.
I would love it. And I tell you, I'd love to come talk Christmas with you, because I have Christmas decorations that have been in our family since before World War II.
Oh, I would love that.
So I would love to share those with you.
Oh, we'll get those ready, because I will bring you on and we'll feature you. That would be
sounds
fabulous.
Good. And if anybody wants to reach out to me directly, just for encouragement or direction, I would love to talk to you. I see my Instagram and Twitter going under the bottom, but my email is mortiz, MORTIZ at nationalcenter.org.
Okay. I wasn't sure if you wanted me to share that. And
no, I don't mind.
Okay, what I'll do is at the end of this segment, and as I upload it, I will put that in there into the social media. And I will tweet at the center, and we'll just get this out there. Let's raise the awareness. Let's raise the flag.
Sounds good.
Melissa, many blessings to you. Go get your new home.
Thank you. Thank you, Eden. Have a great day. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye. And for all of those who are tuning in, this is Common Sense America. I am Eden Hill, and we are just at the 10 o'clock hour. What an amazing, amazing 2 interviews, 2 segments. Tomorrow, we are focusing local on our veterans, on our Marines. We are bringing on the new executive director for the Museum of the Marine for North Carolina. He will be joining us tomorrow for the full show. So make sure you tune in. Make sure you support our military and our active duty, our families, and also our veterans. Until then, be strong and be courageous and get out there and make a difference. I will see you tomorrow. God bless you all.